International Monetary Fund applauds Nigeria's ongoing reforms, projects growth to rise above last year, intensifying efforts for women inclusion. Intensifying efforts for women inclusion in politics as stakeholders meet. We shall bring you this and more on today's Panorama. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says Nigeria's ongoing reforms are paying off, attributing the latest inflation drop to 18.02% to the policy measures. In its regional economic outlook for sub-Saharan Africa, the fund projects growth for the region to rise above last year's level, reaching 4.1% in 2025. Mupulanda Kok reports.
Sub-Saharan Africa's economic growth, we now estimate, is expected to hold steady at 4.1% this year, with a modest pickup expected in 2026. And in our view, this reflects ongoing progress in macroeconomic stabilization and reform efforts across the major economies in the region.
Pressure points for Africa remain rising debt and inflation. But the IMF says Nigeria is already making progress in taming inflation.
We find the decline in inflation consistent with the tightening of policies that have been undertaken in recent years, particularly on the monetary policy front, but also the effect of the exchange rate adjustment that took place over the last year or so and more, having come through the system. So it is consistent with the policy calibration that we see. We're encouraged by it, but I think still some ways to go to get to the government's target.
The forces of change are making the global economy less predictable.
Also today, IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva said the world economy has shown remarkable resilience. Despite this growth, people in many countries, including Nigeria, remain anxious about the future. What then can countries do?
Unlock private sector growth for economies to deliver more jobs and better livelihoods. For the private sector to thrive, countries must push ahead with broad and ambitious domestic reforms. Secure sound macroeconomic fundamentals for navigating a more turbulent world. Countries must rebuild fiscal space and reduce debt. This means relying more on domestic sources of revenues and making smart budget choices.
For the world, uncertainties are here. For the IMF, change is what countries must embrace, because with change comes opportunities. In Washington, D.C., Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
It is another yearly reminder for nations to commit towards ending poverty as the world commemorates the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, a day set aside to amplify the advocacy that ending poverty is not only about income, but about dignity, justice, and belonging, with the theme ending social and institutional maltreatment by ensuring respect and effective support for families. In this special report, Ruth Agwele examines federal government's efforts in poverty reduction.
Poverty is indeed a global crisis and not peculiar to Nigeria. A struggle that has posed concerns demanding urgent interventions. Going by a recent World Bank report, estimates show that about 139 million Nigerians are living in poverty. Could this figure be interpreted in a multidimensional index?
The issue of poverty could be multidimensional. So when we say multidimensional, it simply look at a different thing. Even access to social amenities could be poverty to some people. You know, access to potable water is also poverty. So when we say multi-dimension, it means they look at it from different perspectives and conclude that yes, there is poverty. But multi-dimension could mean different things in different manners.
As the world commemorates the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, it seeks to promote dialogues towards ending poverty across nations, build institutions that help families stay together, thrive and shape their future. For Nigeria, the federal government is pulling strings to change the narrative, with interventions geared towards lifting millions out of poverty.
We are working on renewable energy, solar. We had training in 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Farmers and youth who are involved in cassava farming, rice farming, and this, and most importantly also government enterprises and empowerment program to give out free collateral, free interest loan to 21,000 Nigerians of 300,000 each farmer.
We've carried out free medical outreach across the state because health is wealth. We've empowered pregnant women by giving them free delivery kits. We'll continue to reach out to communities to empower them. And it's part of the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Improving social safety net programs is a task before the federal government by building resilience through collective efforts.
I'm calling on private sectors and all other women in Nigeria to support the government effort, because government cannot do it alone.
And we must come up with accountability framework. We are trying to get the trust of Nigerians, because without trust, whatever we are going to do at this.
With the theme, ending social and institutional maltreatment by ensuring respect and effective support for families, an urgent call to put families first, promote social protection and end poverty in all its forms everywhere. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
The commissioners for information from APC-controlled states have applauded the commitment and leadership of progressive governors in steering states and making policies that are improving governance and enhancing the well-being of citizens across their states. This formed part of the communique issued at the end of the 2-day strategy meeting of the commissioners held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Umar Jimbarima reports.
The strategy meeting of the Commissioners for Information from APC-governed states serves as a platform to assess progress, enhance strategic coordination, and ensure that all communication efforts deliver measurable impact across the Federation. It is also an avenue for the state-level experience sharing that will promote good governance, policy coherence, and democratic accountability throughout APC states. The communique read by the chairman of the forum, Borno State Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman Tar, affirmed the forum's commitment to collaborate with the federal government in domesticating the proposed National Value Reorientation Charter and driving its implementation at the grassroots level across APC-governed states.
The commissioners affirmed that the APC governors are making the right policy choices and taking decisive actions that are improving governance and enhancing the well-being of citizens across their states.
The commissioners acknowledged the need for evidence-based communication and resolved to adopt a monitoring and evaluation framework with clear performance indicators to track progress on media and communication initiatives. The forum appreciated Governor Babagana Umar Zulum for hosting the strategic meeting and for the hospitality. The meeting resolved to develop a harmonized framework for addressing national issues that will impact APC-governed states. In Maiduguri, Umar Jimbarima, NTA News.
With the needed support, Nigerian women will continue to play vital roles in reshaping the political landscape of the nation. This was the submission of the wife of Gombe State Governor Asama'u Inua Yahaya during the State Female Political Stakeholders Retreat held in Gombe. Balgum Samari reports.
Retreat aimed at empowering women in politics brought together female stakeholders from various political levels to discuss strategies for enhanced women participation, representation and influence in Gombe State political space. Wife of Gombe State Governor highlighted the crucial role of women in shaping the future of the state, urging participants to take full advantage of the platform to strengthen their capacity for effective decision-making and governance.
We as women have a vital role to play in ensuring the success of this administration. The renewed hope agenda of the federal government and the transformation agenda of our state governments are geared towards improving the lives of Nigerians, particularly the most vulnerable.
And the concept of this retreat is for us to bring political leadership spouses together, especially in Gombe State, as a support to what the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is campaigning, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. This is part of her agenda. She was there some months ago, and part of the things she advocated for is women supporting their spouses in whatever they are doing.
Participants discuss ways to build stronger networks and partnership among women in politics, fostering unity and mentorship. Balgum Samari, NTA News.
Now, imagine a country where hospitals, banks, supermarkets, airports and schools all have sign language interpreters. A society without communication barriers, especially for persons with hearing impairment, faces challenges. This is the vision, the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, and its partners seek to address as they mark the International Day of the Girl Child. Christiana Conde reports.
15-year-old Louisa Hashuru, a student of the School of the Blind, is proof that disability is not inability. Against all odds, she stands tall as a passionate advocate for the girl child. With a confident voice, Louisa, with many other girls with disability, say no girl should be molested, bullied, or sidelined.
We celebrate our strength, our intelligence, and our rights to be heard for a girls with disabilities like me.
All girl child across the nation, we want to assure you that we can see you. You are a leader in making, and your voice and your achievement matters.
For the Minister of State for Education, the International Day of the Girl Child is a time to listen deeply, act boldly, and invest in the future of girls.
When we learn sign language, we open doors of friendship, opportunity, and belonging for millions of Nigerians who communicate with their hands, their hearts, and their courage.
If we take interest in things like sign language, participate in activities that promote sign language in schools and institutions, form a club of sign language. Parents with children with disability, whether deaf or so, should also take interest in sign language because communication is key.
To this end, the federal government says plans are underway to institutionalize the teaching and learning of sign language across all basic education schools, a step towards equal opportunity for every child to learn and thrive. In Abuja, Christiana Akonde, NTA News.
Now, concerned authorities are fighting the growing menace of fake news, misinformation and hate speech, a practice believed to be one of the societal vices. In commemorating the 2025 Global Media and Information Literacy Week, the International Media and Information Literacy Institute, in collaboration with UNESCO and Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, began the week with a one-day roadwork to sensitize the public on the dangers of fake news, hate speech, and misinformation. The roadwork started from Ministry of Information and National Orientation through the Central Bank and terminated at Federal Secretariat.
Our campaign is to sensitize people on how to use media, particularly social media, responsibly, to ensure that rumor, fake news, spreading it across in our country must be stopped.
The week continues with a two-day symposium which will feature discussants with a theme promoting AI and gratification through media and information. It's now time to pause for. We'll now join Susan in Makodi for the rest of Panorama.
Shape. You're welcome to Makudi. The Benue State Ministry of Education adopted new policies aimed at reshaping and easing up learning for both the learners and parents during the commencement of the 2025-2026 academic session. Public and private schools were directed to adhere to these policies with immediate effect. Iverin Solomon, who visited some schools in Makudi to monitor the level of compliance, also sampled the view of some parents and school operators on the state government's directive.
Education is the bedrock of every society. To achieve quality results from learners and reduce the burden on parents, considering the economic challenges, the Benue State Ministry of Education adopted the policies which are restrictions on customized educational books, making it non-transferable, compulsory school graduation ceremonies, especially for kindergarten, nursery and basic class. Also, extended lessons except with the consent of parents or guardians. How do some parents and school operators view the new state government directives?
By my assessment, it's very okay. Reason being that there won't be any need to waste money.
Enroll them lesson at home. They don't do the school lesson, but it's never been a compulsory before the government could even bring that law.
It has made the teachers to get some other textbooks to do research and all that.
We stop lesson activities after school, and we're also going to cancel the graduation stuff.
Commissioner for Education and Knowledge Management, Dr. Margaret Ijagua Ademu, says the policies aimed at emancipating the masses and a task force committee has been inaugurated and have already commenced inspection of schools across the 23 local government areas of the state to ensure total compliance.
Parents are really complaining. So this idea of putting it off is not only just to help the parent, but also to ensure that graduation should be in tandem with certification.
She further encouraged parents and guardians to engage the learners in other skills acquisition rather than enrolling them for extra lessons after normal school time, as it will affect their mental well-being. In Makudi, Iverin Solomon, NTA News.
Taking our bearing from that background report, I have with me in the studio Reverend Father Te Ungwa Tu. He is the Director of Private Schools and Special Programs, Benue State Bureau for Education Quality Assurance, BECA. Father, you're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, listeners.
Okay, now giving the details of the policy on the background report. Now, what has been the experience of the ministry in the course of monitoring compliance at both the rural and urban levels?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm here from one of the MDAs that make up the Ministry of Education, the education subsector in Benue State. That is the Benue State Bureau for Education Quality Assurance. I'm representing Dr. Tena Francis, who is the Director General. So you know that in terms of compliance, the BECA is the ombudsman of education in Benue State, below the tertiary level. It is the policeman, you can even call it the EFCC. So beginning from before the commencement of the 2025-2026 academic session, when His Excellency Governor Hyacinth Umemalia directed that these policies should be enforced, the BECA was already on the ground working with the Ministry of Education to ensure that everything was done as directed by the governor. And as the commissioner has rightly stated in that introduction, she has already formed a task force that has membership drawn from all the ministries, departments, and agencies that make up the education subsector. You have the Teaching Service Board, you have the Science and Technical Education Board, you have SUBEB, you have adult and non-formal education, and all that. Right now, as we speak, we have evaluators, we have education, all that are concerned with this on the field, on ground, in all the 23 areas, local government areas of Benue State. First of all, the commissioner issued a circular on the policy direction for Benue State. And all schools were mandated to attend to these 4 areas. The issue of transferring non-transferable books, it was banned. And all proprietors and all school administrators are now moving forward, urged not to break that law, that you can use a book in a school and hand it over to another person. No longer the case whereby you use a book for 1 year, and even if you return, you are repeating the class, you still buy the same book. That is criminal. And then the customization of books. Even as we were going out, even today I came back from somewhere that we were monitoring it with the DG. Even one of the proprietors actually said, "Oh, they customize books because they put the phone numbers of their or the parents of those learners on them, so that if there is any issue, they will have to call the school." These are so many reasons people give, but already the school has the phone numbers of those children. And then you have a regulation of graduation ceremonies. Yes. This is coming up in the future, but we are sensitizing stakeholders, proprietors, school heads, that has been banned. You must understand that this is going to take time. One, because some graduate in the nursery area, preschool sections, and some even to move into another class is another graduation. With the new policy on education, which is 934, 9 years of basic education. Yes. You have basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It means you can't even graduate in primary 6.
Okay.
There's no way you can graduate in primary 6 across the length and breadth of Nigeria, because that is not an exit class. It's JSS 3. In fact, let me use the old word, that the nomenclature that is old. It is basic 9. So schools in Benue State, what the Bureau for Education Quality Assurance and the Ministry of Education are doing with the directive from the governor is that private schools that have only primary 1 to 6 should change the nomenclature to basic education. Okay. Basic 1 to 6. You attach basic 7, 8, and 9, which is actually what people call JSS 1, 2, and 3. And after that, when Baker goes and the ministry, and then we check that you have the facilities, we give you even a center to write for your WAEC, your basic education certificate exam. So Baker and ministry and all stakeholders have been monitoring, and they have been compliant. But the books issue, because it came very late.
It was actually a big challenge.
It came very late because people had already spent money, but they are taking permission to see how we can navigate around that. But it's a policy, and government has not changed it, and people must comply. Exceptions are given when you complain.
Okay, now beyond these financial burdens that have been removed from parents, what other impact are these policies meant to,
The biggest impact of this policy, Susan, is that the government of Benue State, under His Excellency Governor Hassan Dalia, wants to give access to quality education for all people across the state, especially those who are from the poor background. So it will increase access to education. Because some of these graduations and some of these books that people are customizing and saying they are compulsory deny parents and learners access to good and quality education. So that is going to, the cost of education is going to go down in various forms. And the infrastructure, the governor is already doing that so well, constructing upstairs buildings across public primary schools. And of course, there is this Novus microfinance bank in Benue State that was recently approved by the state government. It is giving school improvement loans to stakeholders, to school owners, to principals, to school heads, so that they can improve on the infrastructure, so that training and retraining can continue. and then everybody will key in. The government is deliberate and intentional on these issues.
Thank you very much, Father. Really, if we had much time, we would go on and on and on. Thank you for coming to share your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Susan. It's always a pleasure. I'm available anytime.
Thank you very much. And that's it on Panorama today from Makurdi Network Center. Thank you very much for staying with us, and have a pleasant day.